Hey guys, if you noticed the music before we start, this is a mod which I will, if you want to get it, I will be putting it in the description. Now you may have noticed all the power armor suits around me, and the fact that I am in one. But this video is basically a beginner's guide to power armor in Fallout 4. It's also worth noting that there may potentially be spoilers, and that the power armor from other games, such as Fallout 3, are different. Such as Fallout 3, you will require a skill to use power armor, whereas in Fallout 4, you can just basically find one and hop into one and just do whatever you want in it. Now, we're gonna just ignore these ones just for a moment and go to the more rusted ones. This is because those are DLC related, where these are all main game. Let's go to this one first. This is the T-45 power armor. In lore, when referring to lore, this was the first power armor to be made and used by the United States Army, and in the game, it's also the first power armor you get to use, assuming that you are following the quest lines, each mission as they are given, as you can skip the first two missions and after coming out of Vault 111. The first power armor is a damaged and rusted power armor, which you will find in Concord's Museum of Freedom, which is, as you can tell, extremely close to where you start. This is on top of a roof, which is a really destroyed room. The next one is the T-51 power armor, which, as you can tell, looks a lot different to the T-45. Moving on to the next one, and you can potentially, if you look at the T-60 and the T-45, they look similar. And if you've played the prologue, which you technically have to anyway, unless you are using mods, you will have seen this, although you will not have seen a rusted one, but a military one, which is a green suit of power armor when you're running to Vault 111. These are the people who are in these at the gate. This is the third and last power armor the US was made and used before the bombs fell. It is also the most common power armor you can see, as the faction, the Brotherhood of Steel, uses it a lot. And while we're on factions and power armor, all of these have a faction, kind of excluding the Raider power armor, which is a post-war one, which is basically just power armor which has been repaired by raiders, obviously. And the reason that it's excluded is because the four remaining has faction paints. T45 will have the Minutemen paint job. T51 will have the Railroad. T60 will be Brotherhood of Steel. XO1 Power Armor, another potentially post-war, although most people are not too sure, is the Institute. Now this is the, according to in-game menus, etc, etc. It's the strongest power army you can get, although you won't find it straight away like the T45. There are some benefits but also drawbacks to using power armor, although we will come back to that later on, or in another video, depending on how long this video turns out to be. All power armor even the Raider power armor can be edited using one of these. Now this one you will be able to build in settlement mode, whereas this one, without using mods, you will not be allowed to use it, but you may find it in travels, especially in the Brotherhood of Steel faction. Now power armor can be repaired. It can, as you can see, have miscellaneous objects such as a jetpack. However, on the terms of jetpacks, because power armor uses fusion cores, which don't last long, jetpacks will use it up more quickly. You can also change the colour, which can add bonuses. Each one power armor piece can be upgraded, so the T45, T51 and T60 will be modelled A to F. When you upgrade it to B and above, as you might, it's hard to see on this, but it gets less rusted and more new. However, the Raider armor only has two options for the upgrade, and the XO1 has the same, if not another one, except instead of A to F, it's Roman numerals. But on the subject of fusion cores, here's a tip. Which, as I will say before, there are no settlers in this as of yet, but when you start adding settlers to let's say here, and you have a couple of pieces of armor, be wary, as settlers and companions may take this armor, and assuming you haven't heard of the glitches, it was reported that many people were experiencing problems of settlers refusing to come out of the power armor. I personally have never had this. However, I have had settlers get out of the power armor and leave it somewhere random, such as, especially when the settlement is under attack. Let's say, as you can see, the wooded area, ghouls are attacking. They will leave it where they stop combat. However, there is a really simple and easy and effective way of doing this. As you can see with this one, compared to the one in the middle, it does not have fusion core. This will because it doesn't have fusion core, there are two things that will happen. One, you still can get in it However, there are more. It won't be like it will be with Fusion Core in it, as it will have more limitations added. However, I will say that in about after this point. With a Fusion Core, with a power armor with no Fusion Core, settlers will not go in it ever. So it's really useful if you're going to leave it there, as you may, let's say, fast travel to, well, anywhere, then fast travel back a couple of hours, well, hours in game time, and it'll be gone. There are, going on the flaws of not having a Fusion Core, let's take this out, put it in a crate, and while we do that, Fusion Cores can be found at checkpoints, can be sold, or found on certain one of these, on power armors. Now, the limitations of it not having a Fusion Core is it will beep on the corner of the screen. It will also say no power, hold to exit. There will also be a flashing light, as you can see. Now, when you try to move, you can't sprint or run. You just walk slowly. Also, VATS, you will not, or power attacks, you will not be allowed to use. But let's go on to the benefits of it with a Fusion Core. We won't show you using this, but we will with this. As you can see, certain parts of this is missing, by the way. This is usually how you will find them. Power armor in the wastes. The benefits, however, are extended capacity, i.e. the ability to carry more. It will also add more radiation resistance, more damage resistance. It will also eliminate fall damage. However, there are drawbacks to this. With, as you can see, a jetpack, if you go fall from height and you hit, granted I can't show you, but I can show you the thing, that will happen. When settlers are too close, they may turn hostile, which will, if you're a beginner, as a tip, if you injure or attack any settler, the entire settlement, turrets included, that you have built, will go rogue, and you will have to stay out of that settlement for 24 hours game time. Also, as a last note, when going into a power armor station, you obviously have to exit your power armor. This can be tricky at first, however you don't have to line it up like you saw previously. There, that would do. All you have to do is point your cursor onto the actual station, press A, and as you can see, it's aligned. Also, as a note, that power armor can be damaged. It cannot be destroyed, but it can be damaged, and damaged pieces will not equip until you repair it. Also, as a useful note, which will finish this off, but it's also extremely useful. Before we go into the DLC thing, which will be a quick run, it's advisable you don't use power armor when in settlement, in workshop mode, as you could probably have already told that your default HUD is green. When you go in power armor, it turns to yellow. In workshop mode, yellow items are scrappable but not movable. When in power armor, this will change basically everything you can move, scrap, etc. yellow, which will be really hard to tell. Now going on to the DLC. These, among two others which I have not displayed, but one is similar to that but more of a light green, are DLC items. These three, the new Coca-Cola T51 power armor, the Quantum XO1 power armor, and the Overboss power armor, a similar one to the Raider power armor, are from Nuka World. This T41 is from Bar Harbor. This one is from Contraptions mode, Workshop even. As you can see, most of them are T51s. However, I do not know why they did T51s. Maybe because my guess is it was the least popular in the main game. This one can be found in Nuka World's refreshment park. Well, World of Refreshment, I think it's called, with Nuka Lurks, which I will leave you guessing to what they are. This one is found in the Galactic Zone. However, it is a lot harder to get than that, as you need every star core. Again, not gonna ruin much for you. This one is basically, there's no way you can complete the game, well the DLC, without seeing it, as the main boss, Overboss, who you take over, wears this. You can loot it off his body after doing the gauntlet, which is the first thing you do in Nuka World. However, you will need to have a frame for that, because as a thing I forgot to mention, when a settler dies in power armor, you can loot all the pieces, but the frame, as I will show you with this one now, this will not be usable. This can be found all over, or certain vendors, such as I think it is Turo or the Atom Cats, will sell power armor frames. However, these can be expensive, costing around, I think, at least 3,000 to 4,000 caps. As a last note, there are multiple mods which can add new power armors or new paint jobs, etc, etc. Now, on an end note, remember to like and subscribe, and I hope you found this video helpful.